The first homeowners grant in Victoria. Is it still available? Can I get it? What do I have to do to get it? In other words, am I eligible or aren't I eligible? These questions and more will be answered in this short video. Hi, my name's Khalid. Welcome to our channel. So, is the first homeowners grant still available in Victoria? Absolutely. Now, it's available until the 30th of June 2020. The government reviews this every year, so whether or not it'll be available next year, who knows. But at this stage, it is available for first home buyers up until the end of June 2020. So if you sign a contract before the 30th of June, as long as you meet all the other eligibility criteria, which we'll discuss later on in the video, then you will get it. So by all means, if you're going to be buying a home, if you're a first home buyer, now's the time to do something about it. Don't rest on your laurels and do nothing. Do something about it now. Now in Victoria, the first homeowners grant is $10,000 for metropolitan Melbourne. So anywhere in Metro Melbourne you buy a house, it is $10,000. If you decide to go to regional Victoria, well, the good news is it's actually double that. It's a whopping $20,000. So if you're going to the country, great news, guys. 20 grand is what you can get from the government. Okay, so how do you know whether you can get the first homeowners grant in the first place? Well, if you're a resident of Australia or an Australian citizen, that's criteria number one. You need to be an Australian citizen or a permanent resident. You also need to be over 18 years old. So little kids obviously can't apply for the first homeowners grant. Or when I say little kids, people under 18. Another thing you need to keep in mind is that the home you buy must be brand new or substantially renovated. Now, the definition of substantially renovated, you can read more about it on the State Revenue Office website, but effectively what it means is that every room in the house has to have been completely renovated. So not just a cosmetic where someone's painted the house, that doesn't qualify. So keep in mind, the best thing to do is just to actually buy a brand new home. Right? If you want to get the first time owners grant, look for a new house, you'll get it then. It also needs to be under $750,000. So you can't go looking for homes that are over that, like say a house in Brighton on the beach. You're not going to get the first home owners grant if you can afford a house on the beach in Brighton. But for us normal folk who live in normal suburbs, we can get it. Obviously I can't, but you being a first home owner can get the first home owners grant if you apply for a house that is under $750,000. Now another important criteria is that one of the people on the application must live in the home for at least 12 months. So if there are two of you applying, one of you at least must use the home as their principal place of residence for 12 months. So you can't go and buy an investment property and call it your first home and get the first home owners grant. You actually physically need to live in the property. And one very important criteria is that you can't have got the grant before, or none of you on the contract of sale have ever owned a home before in Australia. So if one of you has owned a home in the past, whether you've got the grant or not, if you physically owned a home in Victoria, or in Australia I should say, then you cannot get the grant. Okay, so there are also some stamp duty concessions, which is some great news for new home buyers. If you're a first homeowner, you can actually get a concession for paying the stamp duty. And this applies, funnily enough, to not only brand new homes, but also established homes. So if you want to buy an established home, although you can't get the first home owners grant, you can certainly get a concession on the stamp duty. So if the home is under $600,000, stamp duty is waived altogether. You don't have to pay it. If the home is between $600 and $750, then what happens is the stamp duty is reduced and it goes on a sliding scale up to a maximum of $750. If you buy a home over $750, then sorry guys, you have to pay the full stamp duty to the State Revenue Office. But certainly many homes in Metro Melbourne and in regional Victoria are well under the $750,000 mark. So you can certainly bag a bargain and get your first time owners grant if it's brand new. If it's not brand new, okay, you don't get the first time owners grant, but you get the stamp duty savings. Under 600,000, no stamp duty at all. Between 600 and 750, there's a reduced rate of stamp duty, so you still get a good saving. A lot of people ask me if I can use that money for a deposit. Now that is a bit of a loaded question because there are a couple of answers. Yes, sometimes, no other times, and I'll explain why. If you buy a brand new home that's constructed, ready for you to move in effectively, then yes, you could use it as your deposit. Okay, now that only applies if you're buying a home that doesn't need to yet be built. Because generally when you buy a home that needs to be built, then what happens is the builder requires that he gets paid progress payments. The first home owner's grant, when there are progress payments involved, is actually paid during the construction stage. So it's actually drawn at the first progress payment. That's generally at slab stage. So if the builder is building your home, he will get that first home owner's grant at slab stage, which is generally your first progress drawdown. Now with builders, if the builder is actually yourself, in other words, you're an owner builder, unfortunately you can get the first home owner's grant, but you can only get it at the certificate of occupancy stage. So it's not drawn as a progress payment at slab stage, like if you're a registered builder. If you're an owner builder, it's drawn to you at certificate of occupancy stage. I guess the government just wants to make sure that you do complete the project and you're not going to sort of stop halfway through, because there have been some situations of owner builders not being able to complete the project. So just be aware of that you won't be able to use it to help with your cash flow if you're an owner builder. Now the next question a lot of people ask is, when and how do I apply? Well, you can apply in two ways. One is by downloading a form from the State Revenue Office and filling it in and submitting it to them. The other, which is the preferred option, is to do it through an agent. Now, you say, well, who are the agents? Most lenders in Australia are registered agents with the State Revenue Office. So we're not talking real estate agents here, we're actually talking agents for the administration of the State Revenue Office's first home owners grant. So almost all lenders on our panel of lenders are registered with the State Revenue Office. So it's simply just let us know when you make the application that you are a first home owner, and we'll know that during the application process anyway, and we'll make sure that the agent, the lender that we choose, actually applies on your behalf. And then it's just very seamless because they get the money as part of the settlement funds, and then they'll just apply it to your settlement and Bob's your uncle. You got the money and you move into your nice new home. So I hope this video has been informative for you. We also have a first home owner's guide that you can get simply by clicking on the link below, and then you fill in your details and we'll send out the first home owner's guide to you. It's got many topics covered. A lot I've covered today, but there's a lot more information in the first home owner's guide. So do click the link below and get the first home owner's guide. If you want to discuss anything to do with finance or the first home owner's grant or anything else to do with a mortgage, please do give our office a call. The number's on the screen, and thanks for watching. Hope you can catch our next videos.